Sure, using the treasure map you stole out of Toot's diary. Mayor Landers let out a bitter laugh. You know as well as I do that the map in the diary wasn't much help. It was just an unfinished draft. He brought up the real map with him when he returned to the cave. Landers took out the paper he'd stolen from Toot's bones and waved it in the air. I knew the treasure was down here somewhere, but it took me ages to figure out that there must have been a cave inside this cavern. I was the one who paid these men to remove the rubble. Cooked up a pretty good story to explain them being in town, too. Secret Service agents, my boot. Angus spit on the ground to show his disgust. Bunch of hired thugs is all they are. I knew they didn't work for the President of the United States when the cowards ran away from a little old skunk, leaving that capsule sitting there where anyone could tamper with it. So that's why he sent the skunk loose on the mayor, Randy whispered. He was trying to prove that the Secret Service agents were phonies. And when the mayor took the opportunity to accuse Agnes of stealing the capsule, DC whispered back, Mr. MacArthur's been innocent all along. While Agnes and the mayor faced off, another figure emerged from the darkness. The man crept up behind Agnes McCarthy, threw an arm around his neck, and trapped the old man in a headlock. The shotgun went off, and the bullet hit the roof of the cavern. Within seconds, Agnes McCarthy had been subdued. You should have stayed out of this, Agnes, the mayor gloated, but I'm afraid you'll have to pay for this little skunk incident. Your filthy pet ruined my best summer suit. Take Mr. McCarthy away and deal with him, the mayor ordered his employee, and make sure he won't be coming back. I don't want that old coot causing any more trouble. Agnes' captor nodded and began to drag the elderly man deeper into the tunnels. We've got to save Mr. McCarthy, DC whispered. What about the treasure? Pudge asked. Who cares about the treasure? They're going to kill Mr. McCarthy, Randy exclaimed. Come on, follow me. She and the boys crept behind the rock piles until they were unable to see the mayor and his men. Up ahead, they could see a flashlight beam. There he is, Randy said. I've got his upper body. DC, you get his legs. You sure I can do it? DC asked. You're a lot stronger than you think you are, Randy assured him. You might not have taken any classes, but you've been training for years. By myself, DC said. No, with Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. I bet you've seen every Bruce Lee film ever made, right? Yeah, all of them. Well, remember how he knocked down bigger guys using a side kick to the knee? Think you can do the same move? In my sleep, DC replied with a grin. You guys are really up for this, Pudge asked incredulously. Absolutely, DC replied with new confidence. We can't wait, Randy added. They slinked quickly and silently toward the man and his captive. When they were less than a foot behind him, Randy nodded to DC. Then she tapped the thug on the shoulder. What? He cried out in surprise, and his grip on Mr. McCarthy loosened enough for the old man to slip free. When the thug wheeled around to see who was behind him, he was greeted with a lightning-fast punch. Urgh, he moaned as his legs were knocked out from beneath him. Once he was down on the ground, Randy delivered a chop to the side of his head that would make sure he stayed nice and quiet for as long as it took them all to escape. Pudge rushed over. I can't believe what I just saw. The two of you. I can't believe it. I like to think that I've got a pretty mean right hook, but that was amazing. I told you we were ninja detectives, Randy replied. You okay? DC asked. You okay? DC asked Agnes McCarthy. He'd taken a tumble when he broke free, and he was on the ground where he had fallen. Just twisted my ankle, the old man replied, but I'll survive thanks to you three. So it was true what you said back there. Have you really been trying to save Deer Creek? Randy asked. McCarthy snorted. Don't make me out to be some kind of hero. I just did what Toot would have wanted me to do. He was always loved in this town, even though they all laughed at him. And that's why he kept looking for the treasure. I was embarrassed by him back then. Now, I wish I helped him search. You and your dad will both be heroes if we can get that treasure back from Mayor Landers, Randy said. Yeah, but first we got to get out of this cave, Pudge pointed out. And we got to do it before the other guys start to wonder where this one went. DC pointed at the man still laying unconscious on the floor of the cave. Then let's get cracking, Randy said, taking one of Agnes McCarthy's arms. Pudge grabbed the other, and together they helped the old man hobble back toward the cavern. The mayor and one of the agents were gone when the kids arrived. 8 men were busy dismantling the utility lamps and generator. You guys ready? Randy asked. Yep, DC replied. Let's do it, Pudge said. They helped Agnes McCarthy down to the ground. We'll be just a moment, Randy told them. Enjoy the show. Then the 3 ninja detectives stepped into the light. Look, one of the fake agents shouted, it's those kids again. As the fake agents closed in, Randy leaped forward in a gravity-defying jump kick, connecting with the first foe's abdomen. It was so powerful it sent him reeling backward into another bad guy. DC took down an agent with a combination headbutt and hand attack, then smacked another one with a side kick. He spun on his heels to face 2 more bad guys as they advanced on Randy. But she was ready. She backflipped over the goons and landed behind them on her feet like a cat. Her movements were graceful, fluid like water. By the time the agents realized what had happened, Randy was already spinning and kicking low to the ground, smashing ankles, kicking up dust, and exhibiting textbook form on a tornado kick. Pudge rammed the bad guys from behind, and they were down for the count. The few remaining agents tried to form a human wall around the kids. Just as one agent was about to strike, DC performed an impressive rising kick, catching the guy smack on the chin. Now that DC knew how to keep his knees bent, his kicks were precise and hard. When the dust finally settled, only 3 people were standing: Randy, DC, and Pudge.